Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this cast at Age of Empires 4 Showdown. Spawning on the west side of the map, it's going to be Kazva, leading the forces of the Byzantines, and to the east, it is going to be Jushi's legacy, who shall be helmed by Sort of. Hopefully we get to see some of those cool Shaolin monks in action. Now, as far as the Byzantines go, certainly a very difficult to play civ. A lot of complex mechanics, they have the mercenary system, a lot of options when you get those mercenary buildings. You can choose from 3 different kind of ranks of mercenaries. So yeah, lots going on with that civ, and we'll do our best to break it down during the course of this game. So one of the main mechanics for these bad boys is the cistern network. So you can see this big outer ring here. Everything within that outer ring is going to be getting irrigated. So these villagers are going to be getting sprayed with the hose here, and from there they will gather 5% faster. Now every time you level up your cistern by connecting it to another cistern with your aqueduct system, it's going to be further increasing that benefit that it provides to villagers. But it doesn't only increase your villagers' efficiency, it does also increase your military buildings, your research rate, and also your building durability. So you can actually get a maximum of 25% damage reduction on your buildings, which is pretty rad. You could plop it down to your Wonder in an FFA game. Let's say somebody's all-inning your landmark, you're going to be able to, in the feudal age, theoretically get it 15-20% damage reduction on that, which is really neat. And also what I really like about it is just the rapid fire. So the conscriptio. So when you get this and you have a level 5 cistern network, your nearby military units will go out 100% faster. So the Byzantines can really just like rocket launch units out there. And yeah, they have like a lot of unique activations as well. Their Varangian Guard have a berserking upgrade. You also have the trample ability on their cataphracts that needs to be microed. They're a tough to play civ in my opinion, but very rewarding and very fun. Over on the east side, it's going to be Jushi's legacy. I don't know as much about them. I know they have some officials that can be upgraded with some unique techs. They have the Shaolin monks. They get palace guards in the feudal age, and they get Jugnu, I think, without having to get the dynasty. So yeah, a lot going on with this civ. And once we do see the upgrades pop up, we'll do our best to kind of take a look at those and give you the big analysis. So one of the reasons why you want to start with the mill for the Byzantines is because it gives you that sweet, sweet olive oil. I don't think that the current UI is going to be showing us olive oil, unfortunately. But, you know, we'll do our best to kind of guesstimate. No, it does actually show it on the side. Good. It does have a spot for it. I was a little bit worried. I was like, oh, did they not update it? But it does show olive oil. So olive oil is the resource with which you can hire mercenaries as the Byzantines. So it's very important to gather. And you're going to want to hit the berry bushes first, because when you then hit feudal age, you're immediately going to be able to hire some mercenaries. Not immediately, but pretty quickly. Whereas if you go with mostly sheep economy in the early stages of the game, you're not going to have that olive oil surplus that you're going to want going forward. So here we see the Imperial Hippodrome. So acts as a stable, contains the Triumph ability that can be activated with supply points to increase cab melee damage, movement speed, and regeneration. And it does come with supply points as well. So this is a pretty cool one. Again, very micro-intensive. It's a landmark that you're going to need to keep hotkeyed and pop Triumph. It will buff your cavalry. So if you want to do like a big horseman dive, or let's say you're just harassing, for example, you can get in there and augment the power of those units, because it increases their damage move speed and also lets them regenerate health, which is cool. Let's say you're doing a trample effect. You have a bunch of cataphracts and you're trying to get into the enemy back line and you really want that shock impact. You can use the Hippodrome to do that as well. It requires a bit of micro. I'm too much of a potato to use this landmark myself. I always use the other one because I just know this is too hard for me. But yeah, for players of this level, it should be fine. Over on the east side, we do see the Meditation Garden. So it generates resources depending on the type of resources nearby, which is pretty rad. The resources, the more resources are nearby, the more resources are generated. Enemy units nearby disturb the peace and reduce the resources generated. So that's kind of cool. So I haven't seen this one in action yet. I haven't really seen too many people playing Jushi's Legacy. I think mostly on ladder. I've been running into a lot of Japanese players, a little bit of Joan of Arc action, but really has been a lot of Japan and Byzantines for sure. But this one generates resources depending on the type. Enemy units will disrupt it. So if they're within 9 tiles, so kind of like in this range right here. So there it's going down, and we'll keep tabs on this. Currently it's generating 10 food a minute, 3, and then 7 stone as well. So the stone is relatively close by, and we're going to see if this actually goes up based on the duration that it's been in play. But that's kind of neat. I like that. That's a fun landmark. I can see that being, yeah, but when you get rid of the resources, is it like a hunting cabin? That's the thing. Gather resources based on what's nearby. All right, we'll follow that closely. Like when the stone eventually gets mined out, is it going to be a situation where we then don't get, it stops generating stone, right? But okay, there, it's going up now. So it is a higher rate, 22, 11, and 30. Hey, that's pretty damn good. That's a lot of extra resources. On the other side, we see the Jiangin Tower. So acts as a tax drop-off for officials, and receive a free unit at the tower whenever a barracks, archer range, or stable is completed, and receive a free villager when a TC is completed. Man, Jushi's Legacy has some really, really cool buildings. Man, and we'll look at the upgrades as well once we get in there. But the Byzantines, obviously going to be going for mercenaries. I would say in like 80% of the games I've seen, we do see them go for the Western mercenary contracts, which is the one that gives you access to feudal longbows, because longbows are just such a meta-defining unit, right? Horsemen getting in, going for a little bit of a raid, and like I said, they do have the Triumph upgrade, so the cavalry damage increased by 25% with that Triumph charge, so that gives them quite a bit more damage, maybe giving them an opportunity to pick off a villager in a circumstance in which they normally wouldn't be able to. But spearmen are going to be out pretty quickly, and the horseman raiding will be mitigated, and that window will close rather quickly. But the cool part is, for Kazva, is he can, just bait out a bunch of spears, and then suddenly he's got Strelbora coming in. He's got longbows. And look at that, they're also healing from the Triumph, so you can do some really effective raiding. Dive under the TC a little bit. And because of that landmark, you're going to be able to heal your bad boys up. So right now it looks like they're going to try and overwhelm the spear unit. Normally they wouldn't want that fight, but with 25% extra damage and passive healing, they're like, hell yeah, dude, let's party. Those spear units getting pushed back. And they were also only Dark Age spears. They hadn't been upgraded yet, so now they're Feudal Age spears. So the Jiangin Tower, so yeah, this is the one that gives you free units whenever you make a building. Okay, so that is what that does. Over here, do we see another cistern? Nope, it's just going to be houses here for the old Byzantines. And another mechanic about the Byzantines is every time they build a building, it gives them stone, which is what synergizes with their cistern network. So currently, the Hippodrome is just going to be spamming out horsemen. The fact that it counts as a stable is pretty nice. It's kind of like, the English, for example. You get longbows immediately. Here you can get horsemen immediately, which just have better stats and can provide better utility, and even in enough numbers can fight back against spears. More horsemen on the other side, at the very least, going to be securing a little bit of map control here. We do see the olive gardens coming up, so the olive groves are the Byzantine farms, which do generate olives, as you would expect. So that will start getting them that sweet, sweet oil. And we are going to be seeing Western mercenaries. So longbows are going to be pushing up. Very, very nice. Launchnecht at the Castle Age, and then in Imperial you get Streltsy, which are great. Streltsy are one of the best powder units in the game, right? So what's not to love? Bit of a dive here. Horsemen moving in. And another thing about the Byzantines is when their horsemen actually kill villagers, they get a gold bounty. So they can farm enemy villagers here. And they're pulling back. They're quite beat up right now. And let's see how the charges are doing here. And yes, so there will be another charge. Triumph charge here, and will he pop it to heal his horsemen? I would wager he will soon when he realizes. So villagers pulling back here, a couple horsemen sitting in the bushes, and the Hippodrome raid continues as the horsemen continue circling the Jushi's Legacy, certainly on the back foot. And we do see 40 food a minute, 13 and 27 stone, so that's some nice passive stone. Horseman raiding up in the top has forced sort of here to set up the old palisade walls, which is a good call. That will mitigate the horse raiding because it'll take them a long time. And look at that. The healing is such good value there, that Triumph healing. Although it looks like he didn't have too many charges. One horseman might get picked here. Spearmen chasing them back. But now Strelbora have arrived as well. And this is where it gets real crazy. Just mercenaries, very, very solid high-tier cavalry here with the Triumph upgrade coming from the Hippodrome. And those Strelbora are going to be able to punish this tree line super hard. I mean, those spears are not going to be able to do anything against the Strelbora. So right now, horsemen make an accident. They move in, and certainly, they make an accident. I don't know what that string of words really came out. It came out a little bit weird. But even still, longbows do pick off a spearman. They're going to be able to circle around, shut down the berry bush harvesting, and potentially food starve out the Chinese. The Chinese might be in a situation where they're going to have to start setting up farms, which is really going to mitigate their wood efficiency. So, yeah, these longbows going to maybe even pick off an Imperial official. That feels really bad losing an official early, but he does get away. Nice micro there by sort of. The Chinese do have 2 TCs, though, and they're now going to start pulling ahead in terms of eco, but big olive gardens going down. So a lot of farms, and that is going to be popping out probably more and more mercenaries. Currently looking here, they need 500 to get the Strelbora. A little bit cheaper for the other ones, looks like. Streltsy are 540, so they have different prices. Strelbora are going to be circling around the back, and now we do see the Zhugnu coming out. So the Zhugnu are, they don't require a dynasty, if I'm not mistaken, for Jushi's Legacy. So yeah, they're a great unit. I mean, in numbers, yeah, they can pretty much mow down anything they want to. Looks like 5 villagers idling in the building here, but hiding, and no gold here for Jushi's Legacy. This raiding has been very, very good for denying resources. And now the Strelbora moving in, looking to try and find a pick here, but sort of not going to be letting that happen. China maintaining a little bit of an eco lead, but despite having more villagers, their food situation is very rough. They have no berry bushes, and they're basically just on this deer camp up here, which I suppose isn't bad, but that's going to run out. And Kazva doing a very, very nice contain right now. Could even start diving, picking off peripheral buildings, like take out this mining camp here. And is he going to be getting more longbows coming out from the mercenary camp? Olive oil still building. Only 62 a minute. It's not too crazy right now, but we'll get there in due time. So one cistern so far. I was always wondering, like, this cistern is really nicely placed too. It's hitting all the farms, it's hitting the gold, it's hitting the border of the wood just barely, or at least it was in the beginning. It's a very, very nice placement there. So that's obviously a big skill set for the old Byzantines. Horsemen and archers pulling back. Is this going to be the end of the aggression? Certainly you don't want to be leaving Chinese to their own devices as it pertains to 2TC China. Although Jushi's legacy might not be the same economic powerhouse that China is. I'm not sure. I haven't played them much, and again, my knowledge of them is very topical, and I'm learning with all of you guys as we go. Eventually, we'll get it all down and have it all memorized, but for now, you know, we're trying our best. Maybe a little bit of top pressure. That's enough horsemen to really, really knock down this palisade wall, and if you can get a second wave of Strelbora coming out, get 10 longbows, that would be an extremely efficient counter against these short-range Zhu Nu as well as these spears. The Chinese army is going to be hanging out on the southern border here near the Meditation Gardens, which are still generating stone. Maybe you leave the stone. Yeah, I'm curious if it keeps generating resources as the nearby resources disappear. Horseman dive going in, picking off villagers, getting a 20 gold bounty there. Not bad. It's a little bit of dough. Certainly worth it. And it looks like the longbow is able to get a pick. And now the horsemen will be retreating and enjoying their best life with the bounties of war that they have claimed. Aqueduct network going down now, and they are setting it up near the stone. So the villagers here are going to be getting a faster gather rate, which I believe is now 10%. Let's check this. Yep, 10%. And if military units are being produced, it's going to be 40% faster, which is also hitting the Imperial Hippodrome. Man, that's such a cool faction. Like, there's so much to master. Like, building placement is so essential for them, and it is going to be the Golden Horn Tower for their castle age. So this is a nice landmark. It produces mercenary units for free, and the value of units produced increases with the cistern's influence. So the more cistern influence you have, the better the value of said units. So that's not bad. You know, free units are never a terrible thing. We've seen, you know, Cognate Palace doing some work in games, and in this case, it is going to be the Golden Tower now. So you can make launch next. I believe it makes mercenaries from the pool the contract that you do have, and it looks like, considering it's a Western contract, it's going to make launch next as well as maybe longbows. I'm not sure how it chooses between those, but now we do see the Triumph going down. So the units do 25% more damage and are also healing. So a lot of the horsemen were damaged there. So those bad boys are going to be healing back up and continuing their circling of Jushi's legacy. Chinese army going to be moving down. A couple early Palace Guard being mixed in, so they can get the Palace Guard a little bit sooner. Economic advantage going to Jushi's legacy, 100%. I don't think the horsemen are going to be taking any sort of a fight here. And where did the Strelbora go? They were around. Here we see the raiders in the south. I think the longbows may have returned to the base to just be cautious. But now we see Castle Age tech here. So obviously we're probably going to be seeing the horsemen being upgraded here. Yes, we do. We see veteran horsemen. Upgrades are going to be ranged upgrades, obviously to take advantage of their Strelbora. And I wonder if we'll see Varangian Guard. I'm just taking notes right now. Oh man, that's going to be a big bounty. A lot of villagers going to be going down. 20. It's going to be 40. And 60 gold bounty right there. Not bad at all. 60 gold instantly accrued for the cost of one horseman. Those horsemen will be retreating, and obviously you did 3 villagers down. So the economic difference isn't really even that substantial. It's 53 to 45, so China doesn't not really have that big of an advantage economically speaking. And the horsemen are going to be walled out, but it looks like they're going to find their way in, but it looks like China is going to be going for a very defensive walling. Horsemen want to poke and prod there, and they're going to get another villager, another 2 villagers, which is going to be brutal. And look at that, another 40 gold for that. And maybe going to finish that one off. Looks like he does go for the kill. A couple horsemen going down, but he's getting gold. He's lowering his opponent's villager numbers. I mean, those are just such clutch plays. So here it is going to be longbows coming out of the tower, and the cistern network is at level 2. So far, 1 TC play coming in here. And now the big Chad Cataphracts coming out. One of the cooler cab units. 360 HP trample, which does 10 damage to each unit in its path and can penetrate into the secondary. So let's say your opponent is like stacking and has a ton of units standing on top of, let's say, a Springald or a Mangonel. You can use the trample effect to get your Cataphracts into the back and just run them over and get to that piece if you have enough of them in the critical mass. So yeah, Cataphracts are really cool, man. They're fun. So horsemen circling about. And obviously these guys are going to be healing from the Triumph, so they'll also benefit from the Hippodrome. And we can see some of the other upgrades here. There are some unique upgrades. So enemy units hit by trample become vulnerable and receive 20% increased damage. Oh, that's so rad. We have Trapezites, which scouts enhance torch damage in nearby units. So having a scout with your army helps. And there is the Triumph ability. And of course, we saw the upgrade, which gives the horsemen a bounty on the bills. So yeah, really, really cool play here. The combination of the English mercenaries as well as the elite Byzantine cav. I think that's quite fun. Longbows, I don't think they can see the villagers right now, but they're going to be knocking on heaven's door. And Jushi's legacy, Are they castling up here? Are they getting to the castle age, or are they going any sort of a triple TC? Yeah, it looks like they got castle age here. I could have just looked up here. So they got Mount Lu Academy. Imperial officials move faster. They supervise from 150 to 300%. That's pretty solid. And also Imperial officials can now supervise keeps and outposts to reduce damage taken. Oh, that's cool. An Imperial official limit increased by 2 and grants an Imperial official upon completion. Yeah, that's pretty rad, man. A lot of fun, unique stuff there. But we are seeing the Cataphracts and the Veteran Horsemen. So this is a nasty, nasty army comp. The Chinese army is pretty good, though, too. They have the Zhugnu, which are veteran. They are now getting their spearmen nice and hard. We see upgrades coming out, so we have the regional inspection, the textiles to make the villagers a little bit less susceptible to being sniped, and the spearmen are now going to be getting up to the next tier as well, while the Byzantines are getting the steeled arrow upgrade for their English longbow mercenaries. An Overangian guard, going to be straight Olive Gardens here. The archer and cav composition is always welcome, and look at this, a big, big cistern push. So cistern being set up out here, which can be used not only to gather these deer at a very, very fast rate. That should be up to, I believe, 15% in terms of the gather rate bonus. And on top of that, if he wants to build military infrastructure out here, it's going to be a little bit more forward-facing and can do some nice work. How many stables are we seeing? Currently, I think he's just literally using the hippodrome and like 2 basic stables, yeah. That's it. And everything is within cistern influence, like everything, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. These are, yeah. So these should be within cistern influence, I think. No, they're actually not. So that's a little bit unfortunate. He is losing out on a little bit of efficiency in terms of the stables, but it's super easy to just nitpick that, right? Like there's so much SimCitying you have to do with these bad boys. But yeah, if it's built, I think the square box is the military influence one, the one that like these ones can affect, and the outer ring is for villagers. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So big farm eco being set up, and if Jushi's legacy is able to establish his farm network, they could start to overwhelm the old Byzantines. They most certainly could. But that's why obviously the Byzantines are going to be moving in. The trampling effect could be going down here. Cataphract's going to be charging in. Here comes the trample. It's got to come in a second into those archers. So they're just battling into the front line. Longbows picking those bad boys off. Cataphracts opting to just mow down those spearmen to the front line. They are not holding well at all, and the trample has not even been used yet. I suspect the trample is going to be used on the retreat, so when the enemy tries to get away, he's going to trample him. But yeah, he didn't even need to do it right there. Those Cataphracts and their meaty HP doing great work. Archers trying to pick off the last of those spears. Cataphracts and horsemen are starting to get dragged down here. It looks like Jushi's legacy might find a way to hold here. Sort of doing a nice job of the defense, but it looks like the Cataphracts finally able to break the back of the Chinese defenders now as they get that critical mass and start to overwhelm. Reinforcing mercenaries do arrive, and the early palace guard are going to be fleeing the scene. So we didn't see the trampling. I think that could have been pretty neat there, but maybe he wanted to keep his forces more concentrated rather than pushing in. Villagers going to be going down now for sure, and bounty is there. Okay, it looks like they have to actually get the kill for the bounty on the horsemen. Archers picking off a lot of the defenders. Jushi legacy going to need to pull back. Their food income probably going to be suffering a little bit. Looking at their food eco, they are grabbing relics on the map. A lot of villagers hiding and idled here. These farms completely offline. Berry bushes being worked on the backside, but the Cataphracts as well as the English longbow mercenaries might find a way to get back there for sure. It's fun. I've been seeing a lot of 2TC. It's pretty cool to see the 1TC, and I feel like I'm learning a lot watching a player like Cosmo play. He's very, very solid. I mean, both these guys are. I've been watching sort of stream. He streams on Twitch. Make sure to check him out. Seems like a really nice guy and very good player as well. Both these guys are obviously like Conqueror 3 level. So Cataphracts retreating back. English longbows also pulling back, and we do see the defenders sallying out to pressure once again. And yeah, China showing what they're showing their mettle for sure. The fact that these berry bushes are being allowed to stay online is giving China a lot of breathing room here. More and more Cataphracts coming in with their massive HP pools, and the veteran longbows coming. Is their trample going to go down? Is he going to do it? Nope, looks like he just takes the frontline fight, just wants to massacre the spears as quickly as possible with that critical mass. Using Triumph though, giving them 25% damage and also giving them passive healing. And now the land snakes have arrived, so the Western mercenaries, the Launchnecht, have come out of the Golden Horn Tower, I would suspect. And hey, you know, they're not like amazing against these type of units, but the cleaving damage is always welcome. So here comes the big Cav, moving in, trampling over, metaphorically speaking, through these Chinese defenders. Sort of defending valiantly, maintaining a pretty good eco lead. He does have a 79 against 63. Looking at the army value, though, you can see it's looking pretty good for the old Byzantines. These are good quality units, are just butchering through a lot of these bad boys. Whoa, low, low, going down to the backside. Okay, we did see a Chinese Lancer trying to take out that monk who's grabbing the relic here, but that cistern network, these boys are irrigated. They're hydrated. They're the hydro homies or something. I think that's the meme. More farms being set up on the other side. I think that sort of knows that his opponent is not looking over here, so rapid farm deployment. Unfortunately, it's not going to be around the granaries, but that will buy him a little bit of time as it pertains to the food. But you can see sitting on 39 food right now, really, really bleak, and the Byzantines just burning down farms, not wanting to push too greedily and too deeply into the Chinese base. And this is a big gamble over here. Like, if this gets discovered, that's basically going to be GG, as the really, really clean Byzantine cavalry play has been in full effect here this game. So the Imperial Hippodrome has generated another charge. So each supply point increases the duration by 1.5 seconds to a maximum of 40. Wow. So if you save up a hell of a lot of Triumph charges, you can have like a mass duration where your cav have that bonus for like a long time. Yeah, that's really neat. So no farms up in the north. We do see a granary going down here. On the backside, the Chinese farms are now online, so they're going to be able to maybe stabilize a little bit. Will Jushi's Legacy find a way to win and get back in this fight? They do have 2 relics, which ain't bad at all, but Cataphracts coming in from the north going to be getting on those villagers, and that's going to hurt pretty bad. Those Cataphracts do hit hard, and of course they can trample down villagers, which is, you know, they got the big scary for sure. Villagers going down, dual prongs pushing here. Strelbora moving in and picking off a lot of the spears. So good focus micro there from Kazva as the Cataphracts really just showing their worth this game. Yeah, with the good, like, the fact that they can get English longbows to counter the spear play is so clean. And obviously the horseman and the Triumph buff, I think this is going to be the end of the road. I think we're going to be seeing a tap out here from Jushi's Legacy as the Byzantines move in and just wreak absolute havoc in the lands. GG, well played. Cool match. Really a nice illustration of what the Byzantines can do with the mobile play. I am such an infantry guy myself. I really just like the Varangian Guard, but this playstyle just seems so solid. So I'm going to have to probably take some notes here from these superior players and figure it out. And despite the farms here, it wasn't enough. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. Well played to both these champs. Unfortunately, it doesn't take me to the post-battle screen with this weird replay system. So we will we'll have to figure out another way. But that's it for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Cool cav, neat saying Jushi's Legacy as well. Some of the unique stuff about them, yeah, we didn't see the Shaolin monks, but we did see that passive resource generation, which I liked a lot. That's a lot of extra stone you can get, and that can help you get 2 TC, can help you get emplacements in towers. Yeah, that's a neat one. That's a really fun landmark. And the other one giving you free units, like whenever you build a building, I can see that being used like effectively in FFA situations too. So, all right, guys, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. That's it for tonight. And yeah, let me know what factions you want to see. What you really want to get out there. What have we not seen yet on the channel? Off the top of my head, I think we saw Japanese, Joan of Arc. Yeah, I think we need some Joan of Arc action. All right, see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves. Enough rambling for this old man. That's it. Adios. See ya.